Hey, what's going on, guys? WALLAH here. Today I'm going to be talking about SHATTERDIVE and explaining why it is quite literally the most broken thing in the game. A lot of people like to say the glacier nade is the only problem. Actually, a lot of people have been really upset when people say that SHATTERDIVE is the problem, because for some reason they tend to only think the glacier nade is the problem. I made a video not too long ago, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. Stasis wasn't too new, but it still wasn't out for that long yet. And I've kind of had I kind of changed my opinion on some things, especially on SHATTERDIVE, because I said back that it only needed a cooldown, like maybe like of 3 seconds, and that would be it. But in all honesty, like I do think maybe it needs to change a little bit more, and maybe get tweaked a little bit more as well, because right now SHATTERDIVE does a lot, man, and it's just it's pretty wild what it could do and what it's doing right now, and how often you have it up too. So I'm going to talk about a few things I would change besides just a cooldown on it, and also just kind of compare it to something like Phoenix Dive, for example. Some of you kind of maybe forgot that we had Phoenix Dive in the game, and just kind of show you the difference between the two, because they're pretty similar, not the same, but they are pretty similar. This time, if you leave a like on the video, you will ace all your exams. Thank you. Right now, SHATTERDIVE is on basically no cooldown. You can slam, double jump, and then you should be able to slam basically right afterwards, over and over and over, with no problem whatsoever. This is obviously not a good thing because of how often you can do it and what the SHATTERDIVE can actually do. So, for those who don't know, SHATTERDIVE right now, it does 50 damage every time you manage to hit someone. The radius is quite big. Like, I feel like even if they're out of there's like an aura it makes every time you slam. I feel like sometimes, even though it seems they're not in it, they still take damage from you, and that's a problem, obviously, because what the hell, you know, if you're out of the range, it should be out of the range. But you know how Destiny is sometimes, so I'm not gonna hold that against it. But anyways, next I want to talk about the Phoenix Dive versus the SHATTERDIVE. These two you would think are pretty similar, but the differences are quite extreme, and I want to talk about a few things you actually might not know. So for those who haven't used Phoenix Dive, so 99% of the people watching in here, because it sucks right now, Phoenix Dive, after you use it, you can't slide. There's a 3-second cooldown, I want to say right now, on Phoenix Dive. Maybe it's a little bit shorter. But I just went into a private match just now. I used my Phoenix Dive, waited, and I couldn't do it for maybe like 3 seconds. You can't slide until you get your Phoenix Dive back. So what I'm saying is, it's a risk/reward, I guess, type thing. Use your Phoenix Dive. Phoenix Dive actually gives you health regen. So the longer you're in the air for, the more you regen, right? When you slam down. But in exchange, you can't slide until you get your Phoenix Dive, until you get the ability back, right? So you trade your slam for your slide, which is kind of like, if you think about it, it's like using it, I'm not going to lie, using it is kind of shitty. Like, it does feel shitty not being able to slide, but I'm not saying that Bungie balanced it correctly. I'm saying comparing the two is ridiculous, right? Because on Hunter, you can do damage with your SHATTERDIVE, you can break ice crystals with your SHATTERDIVE, you can do and it's on a shorter cooldown too, and you can still slide afterwards, right? For Phoenix Dive, the only thing it does is it shoots you downwards, just like the SHATTERDIVE does, and it heals you on the way down. That's it. It does no damage, nothing else. And it's on a longer cooldown, and you can't slide afterwards. So I'm confused what's going on here. It's as if Bungie like completely forgot Phoenix Dive was in the game, because not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I forgot it was in the damn game before I started making this video. And I don't know. There are some things on Warlock, like for example, Blink. If you use the Blink helmet, for those who don't know, if you run out of Blink charges and you manage to like use too many, you actually do lose the ability to slide as well, right? This is something that's pretty common on a few Warlock abilities. I'm not sure if it's for anything else, but I know for a fact it happens when you use Blink, and it happens when you use Phoenix Dive. You can't slide. It's a balancing thing, I guess you could say, but I always felt like Phoenix Dive wasn't too much of an issue, and ever since the Warlock dash came into play, at least. But it really is unfair the way they balance it, in my opinion. So after looking at Phoenix Dive, what would I do to SHATTERDIVE to make it more, I guess, on par, or would I want to change Phoenix Dive and make it better? I think they should grant the ability to slide. I feel like you shouldn't lose the ability to slide after you use Phoenix Dive, so I think they should keep it the same way with SHATTERDIVE. Don't take the ability to slide away. but I do think it should be on a slightly longer cooldown, maybe 2 seconds. But if they only make it 2 seconds, they have to reduce either the range on it or the damage it does, one of the two. I think 50 damage is, I think it's okay. It's not too broken or anything, but the fact that you can do it over and over is the problem, right? So make it 2 seconds long, make the damage the same, and reduce the range on it. There's also one more thing that's more of a problem, and that's the fact that the SHATTERDIVE actually grants you 40% damage reduction. 40% is a lot. I don't know why they went with this or why, like, you know, just because if you look at it all together, right? It does 50 damage, the radius is ridiculous, no cooldown, and it grants you 40% damage reduction, right? All that together, it's like, wait, like, hello? Like, isn't this a little too strong? I don't know why they didn't take notes on Phoenix Dive, because I don't know, I feel like Phoenix Dive was underpowered, but they could have made Phoenix Dive kind of like the base and then went on and like buffed a few things, you know? Instead of literally, I feel like they just completely started over and just said, fuck it, we're making this like the most OP thing ever, right? I don't get it at all, right? Hunters already have really good movement as is, especially with the dodge, and now they have something for the air too. It's really strong. It's very, very strong. So going back into the 40% damage reduction, for those who are wondering, you can survive a lot of supers right now. So I had a friend come into my chat yesterday and he messaged me on Twitter. I'm going to post the guy's Twitter in the description down below just to give them credit, because this video probably wouldn't have been happening if it weren't for him. So I'm going to leave the Twitter in the description, but apparently you can survive literally every super in the game besides the golden gun. What I mean by that, so let's say a Dawnblade throws a Dawnblade at the hunter that's shatter diving, they're going to survive it because it's 40% damage reduction. An Arc Strider that hits you, you'll survive it. I know some of these are like kind of like, you know, if someone shatter dives in front of an Arc Strider, they're probably going to die anyways. But the point is that they have to hit them 2 times, not 1 time, right? Which is still going to cost them more super energy, but nonetheless, something like a Dawnblade, like I said, though, is actually very strong against, because let's say a Dawnblade's kind of like across the map. If you see the Dawnblade sword coming right at you, you just Phoenix Dive real quick and you get out, right? Because you have it for literally every second. You can keep doing it over and over and over. So you can basically 1v1 a Dawnblade if you're really good, really, really good with it. Even something like a Hammer Titan, you can survive a direct hit as long as you time it good, you know? I'm not going to name every single super, but you get the point. The only super, according to the person, is Golden Gun. That's the only super that you can't survive against, which is like, you know, that's good, I guess. But nonetheless, I think the damage reduction is a little too strong. And obviously, this damage reduction works against everything. It's not only supers, right? So this works against, you know, guns, grenades, whatever it may be. You're taking less damage. I'm not really entirely sure what else they could change. I feel like I kind of just exhausted everything. If you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about Phoenix Dive as well, if they should kind of make it similar to Phoenix Dive. No one uses Phoenix Dive, so I don't want them to make it exactly like that. If anything, just tone it down, you know, remove a few things, give it a cooldown, and I think we'll be a-okay. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.